did you all get on that puzzle? How far did y'all get on that puzzle?
Girl, we never made it to the puzzle. How about
Oh. They were gonna do a New Year's puzzle. Who's that pretty girl behind you, Miss Marty? She just ran away.
My granddaughter, no,
Wow.
my great granddaughter, Nova
Ooh, she
Rank.
looks like a model. You are so pretty.
Okay, thank you.
Woo-wee.
Okay. All right. Hello. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Marty.
Hi, Jerry. Hi. Hello.
Hello. So welcome everyone to the Dallas Ag Women. We are here today to talk Gumbo Talk. And Gumbo Talk is so interesting because it fell on me just like crazy. We were doing a wonderful garden for Miss Marty here in the DFW Metroplex. And her goals for doing the garden are amazing. I was hoping that she would share, but in turn, it was Kwanzaa coming up. We're in the holidays of 2022. So when she came in, she started to make this vegan gumbo, or was requested to make this vegan gumbo at Pan Africa Connections on the first day of Kwanzaa. Upon doing that, I tasted her gumbo, already believed that the gumbo was going to be good just by meeting her, number one, right? So with that said, she does this gumbo, and this man that when I get to the pack, he's like standing in between us, smacking on this gumbo. And so I'm like, where is this bowl, you know? And he's like, over there. And I was like, wow. So I go over there, I see her. The gumbo is amazing, so much so it's sold all the way out. It is a very much in demand. And with that said, I knew a very close friend that also did gumbo, but she did it traditionally. And so that brought about this conversation, especially with a brand new member of Dallas Ag Women. Her name is Miss Tina. And she was talking to me in our consultation about making gumbo for her husband. And with that said, we had the vegan side and we had the traditional side. So I wanted to bring this conversation together because it is possible to have a gumbo garden. With further ado, I wanted to introduce Miss Marty, which is Marty Doucette. And yes, she is a vegan gumbo expert, however, does know how to make real gumbo too. And then we have Lynell Banks, who is also a traditional gumbo chef. And yes, and Lynell does events at for Filthy Rich Nutrients. She is our main caterer for that event. And Pan Africa Connections absolutely loves Miss Marty Doucette. So with that said, I'm going to ask Miss Marty to introduce herself and talk about her gumbo.
Well, hi, I'm Marty Doucette. Okay, I am a mother of 2, grandmother of 6, and great grandmother of 3. All right. Okay. So to tell you a little bit about me, I am a vegan now, probably for the last 10 to 15 years, perhaps. Prior to that, I was plant-based, regular. I make the best Louisiana gumbo. I'm from Louisiana. So I am the gumbo queen.
Yeah.
All right. But I had some health issues that my daughter was always a vegan and always talking to me about changing my diet. I would do better, feel better. Well, of course, you know, who's going to give up some chicken and crab and shrimp and all that stuff? You know, I'm like, girl, you crazy. You do your thing and I'm going to eat my chicken. Who's giving up chicken and sausage, right? So eventually, you know, I did have a health crisis. And once she had me to gradually give up beef and pork and then gradually give up chicken and the rest. And I realized the difference really in my health. And matter of fact, I did have even a different bad health scare where the doctor said he saw so much blockage in my main artery. And my daughter says, you know, there's a plant-based doctor in Houston, Dr. Montgomery. Could I take my mama there? And he's a surgeon, but he also plant-based, and he has a plant-based restaurant in his office. He says, okay, so do you want a stent or do you want a carrot? And I go, I think I'll take the carrot. He says, okay, that means that you cannot have any cooked vegetables. Everything have to be raw. So I think it was like six weeks. And I did it. And I was like, you know what, Doc, anything I cook, it had to be in a Vitamix, that warmth. Nothing on the stove because you lose all the enzymes when you cook. So I did it. He did the test. No blockage, no heart disease. I came back to my cardiologist in Dallas. He took the test. He goes, you don't need a cardiologist. You don't have heart disease at all. So
Wow.
that was a testament of how the food that we eat, and that's just my experience. And you know, the food is, you know, the food that we eat is thy medicine. So then I was like, you know what, Marty, you're a good cook. You know how to cook anything. You know the best gumbo, stews, everything. Learn how to do it plant-based. And I started working on it, and there it is. And it's just as good. And even my non-vegan, I give it to them. I'm like, you know, good food is good food. And it's all in the seasoning and the taste. My son is not a vegan, but I was over there last night and he's like, Mama, you got some more of that gumbo left? Because that's my story. And that's it. And I'm trying to learn how to even be a better cook. I cook greens and mac and cheese. I make my own mac and cheese from cashew nuts or, you know, from vegetables. So it's, I'm learning how to be, and each time I cook it and I have family over for mac and cheese and greens, they can't tell it's not vegan. And it's no plant-based. I mean, it's 100% plant-based, no animal products. So that's my story.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. We're going to jump on over to Lynell. She is coined as the Diva, Lynn's Diva Gumbo. And so she's going to talk about her experience and her tradition and the things that she wants to share with us about her process.
Beautiful.
Hi, well, I'm Lynell Banks. I am a mother of 4. And I have 4 grandbabies. I am originally from New Orleans, born and raised, and migrated to Texas through Katrina. And growing up, I learned how to cook really early. I've been cooking since age 9. I just love to see my mom put everything together, and we were from scratch family. So it's like you learn how to do everything just with all the products. You know, it's no box type of thing that you do, and the ingredients and fresh seasonings, and you know, just getting the love of cooking. And so I just continue to just keep cooking, just learning different recipes, making my own recipes. And, you know, I want to experience, you know, some of this vegan gumbo. I'm gonna have to try that, you know, to just kind of broaden my horizons into food, because it is very difficult sometimes to get some of the products that I normally want to use, being in another state. So, and then getting the quality of the product. But yes, I love cooking. You know, I have cooked for my family for some years now, and I used to be the main cook, you know, of everything. And I just love to see everybody just enjoy it and, you know, get that I cook that with love, you know. So yeah, the gumbo is just really that it's what you make it, because everybody cooks gumbo differently, but you have to find what works for you, and the flavors and all the ingredients that you put in, you know, it makes your gumbo. And so it's just like, I'm glad to be a part of this. You know, I thank Ms. Darciea, she has been my little rock since I've met her. She's given me energy that I didn't know I had. And then meeting Mr. Ra, it's been wonderful meeting people and, just kind of gravitate to other cultures and other things, just different stuff. We're not taught these things, and I'm glad to have met them.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Did you all know that in a certain West Africa that gumbo is considered okra?
Yes.
And so I thought that
Gumbo is
all
considered
gumbo,
okra?
It's
yes,
considered
it's the
okra,
word
and
like
yes.
I did not know that.
it threw me off because I thought all gumbo had okra in it until I went to go film. I do videography, photography, as well as farm. And I went to go film Miss Lynell do her whole process from start to finish, all 5-6 hours of it. And so with that said, she didn't pull out a okra at all. Back to Miss Tina's point, because Miss Tina's making our new member of Dallas Ag Women, she's making gumbo for her husband. And she said okra was not on the recipe. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know okra wouldn't be. And then I literally went to go film and seen that there was no okra in Lynell's gumbo. So
There is a okra gumbo that I do.
okay.
But technically we do a filet. It's called the filet gumbo.
Yeah,
So-
that's what, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was saying, because I'm from New Iberia. Okay, so we had two types of gumbo. So either gumbo filet, which was the brown water gumbo,
Yes.
and that's what my mom made mostly because a lot of people didn't like okra. And then they had the okra gumbo, which was the red with the red
Yeah.
sauce. So we
Yeah.
had okra gumbo, or we had gumbo
Yeah.
filet, and that was a brown water gumbo.
Got you. 100% confused. See, I eat okra raw. I wasn't even eating gumbo yet. I just, I harvest it and I eat it right there because the benefits for okra is so amazing. I'm not sure if our participants know that okra, we all say slime, but that is very equivalent to the lymph node material that's within our body, our saliva. So it's a huge amount of lubricants that can slide into our joints to mend arthritis, also for hydration, in addition to your bowels, in addition to vaginal health. All of these things that need secretion are very nourished with okra, and okra is a melanin dominant, it loves the heat, it loves the sun, it can withstand. But that taproot goes so down deep into the ground. It's one of the only vegetables, because it's a vegetable, you can eat the whole thing. That's a big difference, but it gets calcium in the same ways that your dandelion can do. Not all crops can go down and get that for you. So that's what makes it so important. And I just 100% thought that, it was going to be in everything. And I got schooled real quick with that, because I was like, okra, it means gumbo. And also, as you can see, there's such a collective. I look at it as a 1-a-day vitamin in a sense. When I'm eating Miss Marty's gumbo, I notice there is so many spices and herbs and things. You can just feel the nurturing that's happening and it's sliding through you. The same with Lynell. So, all of these things that take a lot of ingredients definitely are bringing us more benefit to the body. I was going to ask Miss Marty, how tedious is it for you to get this process going, to cook for Pan Africa 2 days a week? What was that like for you?
It was very, but what I did it on certain days, like the roux is the roux is the main ingredient, right? So I like to make my own roux, and it takes time, and because if you mess up and burn it, you got to start over. It takes me about a good hour or so on a low, just to go ahead, a little over an hour to make the roux. And I just take my time, and I made the roux like 2 days before. And then the next day, so what I try to do is the next day I did all the vegetables and cut it up. So, and then I cut up the vegan sausage that I use and the vegan chicken, and I prepared that and put it in bags. So it took about a couple of days, in order so you won't have to be in the kitchen for a long time, because it is time consuming. So I did it, and then the day of, I just had to put it together, and that still took a couple of hours in the kitchen, cooking rice
Right.
and
Yeah.
making sure it all cooked before you add all the ingredients in it. So it can be very time consuming, but it's all done with lots of love. Gumbo means love. That's love
Love
cooking.
like that. Gumbo love.
Gumbo means love. That's love cooking.
It
You know?
is.
So just watching it, making sure everything is, getting the consistency you want. When you see that beautiful brown and everything is cooked, then you start putting everything together. And but it's a process. It does. And with you cooking the regular with chicken and sausage and crab, that's So the vegan gumbo, it just is time consuming. Yeah.
Got you. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, is it vegan? Therefore, it's like reduced on time, because that's what I was thinking. But no, it is still the same thing.
The same, yes, the same thing.
No,
yes.
Thing.
So with Lynell, so you are doing all these different, meats and things that are in there. That prep, I mean, your meal prep is amazing. How many people can you typically or comfortably feed with the recipe that you have?
Okay, with that pot, I want to say you could get a good maybe 30 bowls.
Okay.
Because it's just depending on how much you're making.
Okay.
With your ingredients and everything. But you could typically, out of that pot, you should be able to get at least 30 bowls.
Okay, and if you want to see Lynell's pot, please pay attention to our last post, because I just put her video up of doing all of the steps. I mean, from the vegetable cutting all the way to the deveining, to the cleaning of all of the meat, to the seasoning of all of that. And then the rotation of those meats, then making her stock, it was so many steps. I really felt like I was back in culinary at that time. But the cool thing is with Lynell's situation, because I was there with her, and I know Miss Marty's doing this too. So we'll be able to all talk about being able to save all of your vegetable scraps. So because she used so many bell peppers, I know that I could give you all about 10, 20, bell pepper plants right now, based on the amount of seeds that were in the bell peppers from when she got them. And what I suggest you do with that is you scrape those seeds and you put them in a little envelope, and label that envelope red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, green bell pepper, so that you can go and plant those when the soil tells you it's time, when it gets a little warmer after Passover. That'll be a good time to put those seeds in the ground, and they will germinate for you. So it is possible to regrow from the grocery store and use your EBT if you got it. It don't matter. Because the other thing was the green onions, the bunching onions. Miss Marty's okra garden at her house is going to have green onions coming up. Lynell went to go purchase some, and therefore she can regrow those. And her and I are doing that experiment as well. We're putting those green onions in the soil, and we're going to watch them regrow. And then both of you all will have that celery. That celery regrow. Miss Marty's started hers, and Lynell has started hers yesterday. So all of the things that you're using, you can regrow. It's not going to be for that next gumbo, but it will be, eventually you'll be knocking off some of the costs that you have. So regarding gardening and farm to table chefs, these are both tedious processes we've learned, but they're serving so much with love. It's not about capitalizing, or a huge maximization. But I do ask that anybody on this call or anybody that's in love with gumbo or want to learn to reach out to us, because there's classes that could be available. Of course, for a small fee, but Miss Marty Doucette has the ability to teach or help you, and this is another source of income for our small farmers or our small caterers in this way. We're not trying to, get big, but we definitely want to be maximizing. We want to be effective. We want to show you how to grow your own produce. We want to show you how to prepare it in the most healthy way. Are there any questions on this call today?
No, but what I did, can you hear me?
Yes,
Make
ma'am,
sure.
go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So what I didn't think as a agricultural, as a gardener, because all of my seeds went in the trash. I didn't even think when the bell pepper, I cut it and I threw it out. I'm like, oh, I could have planted those. But now I know when you know better, you do better.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So, okay, because I cut it and threw it in the trash. I'm like, what? You tell me I could put it in the soil?
Yes. And so that's the other thing for composting. It's called compost. It's called lasagna. Jerry, you want to speak to the lasagna?
Yeah, so what we want to start doing, since we're using a lot of vegetable scraps and everything, after you cut up and have those cores or whatnot, what we want to do is you can put that all in the bucket and then take that right outside, and you're going to do a lasagna composting. And basically, you're going to lay some leaves down or cardboard and leaves or wood chips and leaves and cardboard. That's your carbon. Lay that down. Then we're going to start the lasagna. You're going to take that bucket and spread it out nice and even. Nice little 3x3 square is good. Or a circle, whatever you're feeling. And then you're going to come back and you're going to put some more carbon or leaves, wood chips, or cardboard ripped up on top of that. And if you have another bucket, since this is such a big meal, it takes so many vegetables, then you're gonna dump that bucket on top of those fresh leaves or cardboard or wood chip, and then you're gonna come right back and put another layer of wood chip, cardboard, whatever your carbon is on top of that. And could then water it or just allow nature to take its course, and when it rains or whatnot, that'll activate it. And now you're using everything from what you cook with love. Now you've taken the seed and you're growing with love, and then you're taking those leftover scraps, and now you're going to create your own soil with love. So you'll be growing all in love too.
Yes. And you can do this in buckets. Not so much that you have to pour out the bucket. You could literally start composting in buckets too. And if you don't have a lot of leaves, you can use grass, too. But everything that you all made, including all of the scraps of the seashells and all of the pieces from the shrimp, those are extreme benefits to the soil. So everything that you all had, I just wasn't able to take everything from Lynell, but I would have took it all.
But I
because it
think
all benefits.
a class there,
Yes.
From gumbo to garden and garden to soil,
Yes.
or a gumbo to soil, something like
that. Right.
Wow.
Definitely. And then even saving the gumbo seeds. That's another thing we're going to plant gumbo for both of you this year. So once we do that and the season is over, there's one cool thing, because when you shake them, they sound like maracas. So, the kids can, dance around with them at the drum circle at Pan Africa if you want, or you can just save those seeds because you'll be using them again. But I wanted to make a big, huge understanding that this is a fruit and vegetable and, soup in a sense, because fruits are peppers. Peppers are fruits.
Right.
And the reason that they're a fruit is because we don't eat the whole plant. We can't. It's not edible. The fruit is edible. And that's what makes it a fruit, is when you cannot eat the whole thing. But with okra, we can chop up the root, we can use the stalk, we can use the leaves, and the leaves are one benefit for hair, skin. It's a shampoo. Girl, it's edge control. Your girl know. I slap these locks around, I put okra around them sides. It's just such a beneficial, crop. And so once again, my bias to believing that all of them were the same. And I should know that, because you got a lot of people allergic to different things. And as Lynell was preparing, another thing that was so amazing to me is she said, and so this part is for my grandchild because my grandbaby is allergic to seafood. So she had to already prepare in mind who couldn't. And then Jerry had put in a request. He was like, call Lynell and tell her, please no pork. I'm allergic to pork. So then she had this, segment. So all these different things that she's happened to make, which was really cool. But when we talk about culture, can you all give us a little background or history behind okra? I don't know too much.
History about the okra. I don't know a whole lot either. I mean, the whole thing,
Right.
I grew up like in Louisiana, and I saw the farms, and my father had they had okra, they grew okra and tomatoes, and so it was a lot. So as a kid, I did not know a whole lot about it, so just the idea. But we know one thing, that when my mother we would as kids, and she would bring in this okra, and we give us a white towel, and we had to sit and we had to wipe each okra. They never washed it.
Wow.
So you wiped it with a towel, and you just took the okra. And that's what my kids, my grandkids, all my children, when they went to Louisiana, they knew with my mother, she'd get a bushel of okra, and that's the job. And give us white, clean towels, and we sat and we wiped the okra, and that's when she cut it. Because if not, she said it was, the stickers would get in your fingers.
Yes.
So we would wipe every okra. We had to touch each one and wipe it real clean. And that's what we did in Louisiana. And even here, I do that now. When I buy fresh okra, I still have that Louisiana. I get my little white towel, and I start wiping each one.
Wow.
So you don't wash it. You just have
Right.
to wipe them down.
Right.
So when
because
I do that
washing
now,
it from a preservation standpoint, from farm to table, if I washed it, I've already started the decaying process.
okay.
I've added a chemical to something so delicate, and it will start, decaying because I've added water to it. So as a farmer, that's why I never watered or, cleaned things. And even when we were to do our, harvest our tomatoes and stuff like that, even the eggs, we're not supposed to wash because the chemicals in city water are very toxic to our produce before coming to you all. So that's why it's important for you to wash your produce very, very good when you get it, because we really, really don't want you to have clean produce in the sense that we think it's supposed to be. Because if we do, then we have harmed the produce, and the shelf life of it. So that is a great point. Go ahead, Jerry.
And Miss Tina just commented that she noticed that when she washes it, it makes it more mucus.
Yes.
Too.
Yes. And I mean, unless you're about to actually, cook it, and you just have to, or you just felt like, okay, you could be at market, and some markets are bulk. So, you got a bunch of hands, touching your stuff, and you're just like, But I don't know how many of you all use food grade peroxide.
I do.
I don't. I've never used it.
I've never used it either.
So food grade peroxide is it adds a lot of nutrient, I guess, or benefit to the produce, because it's not stripping anything away. And it's just like kind of like taking the actual soil off or the dirt off. It doesn't interact, I don't think, with the skin in the ways that water would. But meats are where I would normally use it. So when I buy the lamb or I buy the steak or whatever it is, I rinse it, because they add that dye and stuff to it to make it look red for whatever reason. If blood oxidates, it's supposed to be red, but if it's been dead that long, it ain't supposed to be that bright.
I know.
So
fresh blood.
That, and then you're putting that peroxide to kind of extract some things. And I think strawberries are one that people were kind of grossed out about, like putting strawberries in something and watching all of these little things, swim away. But peroxide was helping that process, get it out. Before that, I was using regular peroxide. I don't even know if that was safe, but.
I was just getting ready to ask. I know it's not regular peroxide, so you say it's called food grade peroxide.
Yes,
okay.
Food grade.
Okay.
Say it again.
Where do you get that?
Yeah.
So I buy it from Sprouts or Whole Foods or Central Market. Jerry, where do you get yours?
I get mine from right there in DeSoto. Is the last place I bought it at Pleasant Run and Hampton. And there's a little plaza over there. And there's a
Mm.
health food store, and there's a
Okay.
Louisiana chicken place. It's back behind the Dunkin' Donut, the new Dunkin' Donuts. It's over in that plaza.
Okay.
And they have two grades. They have one that's 13% and one that's 24%. And you definitely want to cut that with water. You don't want to touch it.
Right.
It's gonna burn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I use it for mouthwash. I had an abscess and I'm in the process of trying to rebuild enamel. And so with that, eggshells are the number one thing that I've been recommended to incorporate in my smoothies for that process.
Eggshells?
Yes, eggshells. And that was one of the reasons I started having or maintaining chickens, y'all. That not so much just the eggs, but I knew that I was needing this nutrient. And I got in trouble with the city because my chickens weren't 150 feet from each neighbor, even though one neighbor didn't care. The other neighbor was like tired of Georgina and Buttercup getting out all the time. So they called in on me. And I guess the rooster didn't help. I didn't buy him. I asked for chickens and they gave me a rooster. And we didn't even know he was there until he was like, oh, weird. And he was smaller and stuff. And they was picking on him. But he started crowing. And then that also gave me away. So I
The
don't got no
noise,
nutrients
yes.
anymore.
Miss Bettina, you do want to powder those eggshells. You put them in a blender. Miss Marty mentioned the Vitamix, which is, I'm very biased too, and
Right.
the Vitamix machines.
Yes.
You want something like that that's going to grind it into, or
Yes.
not into a powder. Yes.
Yes, you would have to boil them first. You're going to cook them and then you're going to dehydrate them in the oven to where they can be broken up into powder before you actually use them. So just FYI on that. Regarding moving forward, I know that income for everyone is imperative. And I thought that this was a cool thing that both Miss Marty and Miss Lynell would like to continue in some way, shape, or fashion, but never to be abused, but to be hired, right? I want you all to consider any type of events that you all have going on that are going to be small and close knit, that you, number one, think about Miss Marty and think about Miss Lynell for those events, because these are things that could add value in addition to, keep our little Black Wall Street going. We are intentional with Dallas Ag Women and helping homeowners start liberation gardens in their backyard, however you become liberated, and with Miss Marty, the Okra Garden is contributing to her business. And so if there's any type of business out here, you need to, you want, if you are an esthetician, or if you are a tea maker, or if you are a doctor, or whatever those things are, and that one thing that you see as a problem, you might be a doctor and say, everybody I deal with has low iron. You might be the person that grow beets, just something to add value. But please think about hiring or, patronizing people that are growing so that you can have a farm to table experience and add value versus just bringing in sandwiches, to your little events or, things of that nature. I wanted to ask Lynell, with your business now, how can we get a hold of you? What are some things that we would need to do to, get your business to our location?
You can contact me by phone, and I'll have my email. I'll check my emails daily. And then I am on Facebook. I should be able to be really easy to find. I just need to get that locator information to you, and that way I can have it on hand. But
what's your email, please?
It's Lynell, my first name, LYNELL _BOUIE at Yahoo. And then I am on Instagram, but I have to look at that ID. So I'll be able to get that information all propped up for you. But email and by phone is awesome. Text messages, I'll respond. Now, sometimes during the week, if I don't get back, if you call, just leave a message. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But best way I would say is email, because I do check my emails daily.
Awesome. Is there a way you could put your information in the chat? And Miss Marty, how would people get a hold of you and or connect with you?
More or less the same as Lynell. My email is Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, Doucette @att.net. Okay, or you can do Facebook at Marty Doucette. You can give me a call. So phone number 214-789-4737. So that's like Lynell, leave me a message. You can either text me, I'll get back to you, or give me a call or send me an email.
Awesomeness. I appreciate you all. And once again, we're getting ready to wrap up. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat or unmute yourself. But we are Dallas Ag Women. We are here in the DFW Metroplex. Our goal for 2023 is to do 3 things. 1, help you all grow and grow your business. That's in 1. Number 2, we are magnifying the children in agriculture this year. And number 3, we are putting on events talking about vaginal health the majority of the year. We'll have a series that's just going on and on and on, because this is something that's so imperative, and all of our diseases can be helped or healed through food. So when you grow, we can help you heal. With that said, any questions? We got Lynell's information in the chat, and this is recorded. How does one join ag? Okay. So Jerry, do you want to talk about that? How to join, or do you go ahead?
Yeah, so I want to thank everybody for coming out to our Zoom meeting. And once again, just to reiterate, if you like what you heard this afternoon, please join us at dallasagwomen.org. As you can hear, our hostess with the mostest, Darciea Houston, is our chapter lead and president here in Dallas, Texas. I am your vice president. I will support and help you all in any possible way that we can to help you to liberate yourselves. Definitely, please tune in to our events. If you like what you see as far as what you're hearing, if you want to experience some of the food that you hear us talk about, you have to come out to the Freedom to Grow conference. It's going to be taking place October the 2nd through the 7th of this year. I can say that now, 2023. So let's sign up, be on the lookout for the newsletter and everything, and we're just going to keep it moving. Thank you all again for coming out. DallasAgAndWomen.org.
Thank you all. Thank you, Miss Lynell and Miss Marty. We will be in touch. I will have more videos regarding the okra garden at Miss Marty's, and Diva Lynn's okra. She has a whole branding and marketing strategy that's coming out. So please be on the look. And if you want to taste anything, you better be at Pan Africa Connections or with Filthy Rich Nutrients.
Right.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, guys. Everybody. Have a good one. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.